Hello friends, welcome to Kavita's classroom. And today's topic is taken to be the most dangerous topic by the students, but I'll try my best to make it so clear and easy for you. Please be there with me, and this is consumer equilibrium through IC approach. Why this topic is not liked? Maybe because there is some or the other miss of understanding. Let me take up the things with wide details, and that's how I can help you with this understanding. So, when we talk about consumers' equilibrium, we have already read that equilibrium means the state of rest where we get to have the maximum satisfaction. What does a consumer want? Consumer wants to have more, more, and more, and more. And the consumer's wants are written and expressed by IC, indifference curve, because we have read about this that this IC means what he wants to have with his money income. If his money income rises, he gets to have this position. If money income with him falls, he comes down to this position. But if he is there at this position, all points give him same satisfaction. And why this is sloping downwards and convex? Because of its decreasing slope, right? And that again is determined and governed by law of diminishing marginal utility. Let me take this up as well. When we talk about law of diminishing marginal utility, what does it state? It states that as and when a consumer has more and more of something, its value keeps on going down, right? So what do we see here? When the consumer begins from this point A and gradually slowly comes to this point B, so what is he having? He is having more and more of X. Now, because he is sacrificing Y, so he is getting more possessive about Y, because now the things increased with him are of X. And what is he sacrificing? He's sacrificing Y. So because Y is less with him, so he wants to sacrifice less and less and less of Y now. I hope I have made this clear that why the sacrifice keeps on moving down, why there is a downward slope, decreasing slope. Because he wants to sacrifice less and less of Y now because he is losing Y. So he becomes possessive about it. Right. So we have at one point talked about the consumer. Consumer wishes to have, everything from the market higher and more quantity, right? But what the market is giving him? Market will give him the things which are governed by his budget line, because budget line talks about what combinations of good X and Y are available to him as per the prices quoted in the market, and available part is his money income. So market line or the budget line gives the proper combinations of two goods which he can afford, right? So now where would he be satisfied? If he doesn't like something but he can afford, would he go for it? No. If he likes something but he cannot afford, can he buy? No. So what would he be buying? He would be buying that good which he likes, number one, and number two, which the market is also able to give him, considering the prices and the money income with him. So, what we are to go for in this consumer equilibrium? We have to check where the conditions of his preferences and the market meet together and are coinciding. So, if we want to go for this, we have to check the slope of the IC as well as the slope of budget line. Wherever these two slopes together meet and they are just tangent to each other, that point gives us the consumer's equilibrium. So the slope of IC is MRS, marginal rate of substitution, and slope of budget line is Px by Py, the price ratios of X and Y. Of course, there is one minus point here, which is just the symbolic of inverse relationship and the sacrifice of one good for the gain of other. It has nothing to do with the quantum. Right. So this is our first situation, that the slope of IC is equal to the slope of budget line, and IC must be convex to the origin because he is driven by the law of diminishing marginal utility. It means he would be sacrificing now less and less of Y because now he is gaining X and losing Y. So he is now possessive about Y. Right? After this much clarity, let's move ahead. So we have this diagram. We try to make the IC for the consumer, considering the money income available with him. So this is IC, right, which talks about the preferences of the consumer, and this is the budget line. Again, we can have many budget lines, or this is called budget line, and when we have so many other, so this is budget map. Similarly, we have this is IC and this is IC map, but we are choosing the budget line and the IC which is relatable to the consumer. Okay, so this is the budget line and IC of our consumer. We have to check where are they equal, and equal means just touching, means the point of tangency. So at this point E, this condition of MRS is equal to PX by PY is met. Now the condition is why the equilibrium situation is this. And once again, let me make you understand that whenever we are working for 6 marker, we define, we give the assumptions, we give the schedule, we give the curve, and we give the explanation, right? An explanation would be again divided into two parts, the point of equilibrium and disequilibrium. Then only you'll have full on full. So how do we define consumer equilibrium? The point of rest and the point of maximum satisfaction for him. Assumptions means we are talking about two things. The IC is convex to the origin, the prices are fixed, the money income is fixed. All these are assumptions. Schedule is not required from paper's perspective. CBSE doesn't want any schedule for this explanation from you. So curve is required. This is the diagram wherein you would be showing the budget line as well as the IC. Now comes the explanation, and this is the most important part. Why this is the real condition and what happens in this case and in this case where there is inequality. Inequality means the left hand side is not equal to right hand side, and what would we do to balance it out, right? So at this point E, the slope of IC and the slope of budget line is the same, and hence this is a point of equilibrium. And as per this diagram, he would go for a combination of 15 units of X and 30 units of Y to get the maximum satisfaction. Right. What is here? Above point E, anywhere here, what is the situation? The situation is MRS is greater than PX by PY. Why MRS is greater than PX by PY? Now, again, this needs explanation that whenever we are talking about, see, I'll try to draw IC and budget line, right? Budget line would show you that for every gain on X, there is a constant loss of Y. So see, this is a constant loss. If you are using your scale and drawing it properly, you would see that the gain on X every time is equal to the common or the constant loss on Y. Right. The ratio is not changing, and hence we say the slope of budget line is a constant value. Right. Means for every time, if good X is of rupees 2 and good Y is of rupee 1. Let me give you an example. Say this is pencil you are talking about and this is eraser you are talking about, right? So if, as and when you are losing one pencil, you are gaining two erasers, or when you are losing two erasers, you are gaining one pencil. So as and when you go for this bargain, you have a constant ratio of one pencil is equal to two erasers, whichever bargain you go for. So the slope here is constant. But when it comes to IC, we have already read that because of law of diminishing marginal utility, the gain here is of 1 unit, but now that the y also is being reduced with him, so he sacrifices less and less of y. So earlier the loss of y was more, then it became lesser, and then it became all the more lesser, right? But when we combine these two diagrams, what do we have? We have it somewhere here. Here. Now, above this, the MRS is more than Px by Py, and below this, see, the MRS is less. I hope now you are able to get that if this is my point of equilibrium, above this, the sacrifice of y for x is more, right? But here the sacrifice of y for x is less. So what is the situation? The situation above E is this, and the situation below E is MRS is less than Px by Py. So this is again the question given to you, the points of disequilibrium. So you'll say the situation of, once you make this diagram, you give this equation and say the consumer will be satisfied at point E with this combination when he meets this criteria. Most of the battle is won here. Still, you need to give the conditions of disequilibrium. You will write disequilibrium happens when MRS is greater than Px by Py. Here in this case, what would he do? He will try to move down. And when he is moving down, see, if he is at this point, right? When he is moving down, what is he doing? He is gaining x and losing y. So its only situation which is required to be is your answer needs to write, you need to write that go for, the consumer will go for increasing x and reducing y to gain the maximum satisfaction, as by doing this he will attain E, the equilibrium situation. And when you're talking about the second situation, this is the second situation, when MRS is less than Px by Py, it means he is below this E point. So maybe if he is somewhere here, so what is he required to do? He is at 25 and now he should be going to 15. So what should he be doing? This is a question worth 3 marks. When MRS is less than Px by Py, what should a rational consumer do? So only thing required on your part is he should reduce y or decrease the consumption of y and increase consumption, reduce x beta. When he is here somewhere, so he should reduce x to gain, he is here, right? So he should go for from 25 to 15, meanwhile from 10 to 30 he will attain. So he should reduce x and he should increase y to attain this situation of consumer equilibrium, right? And one more thing, some other authors give a bit more in this explanation. They say this is the budget line, this is the IC, right? They also give you one IC above and one IC below. Right. And they say this is the point of equilibrium we have already discussed, right? They say why the equilibrium is not there at point A, at point B, at point C, or at point D. If you give this much, so you have the explanation A and B lie on the lower IC. Right? So they give the lesser satisfaction as compared to the point E. But when you talk about C, C lies on higher IC and which is beyond his affordability. Right? So some books also talk about these additional points A, B, and C, but the main crux of the story is to explain E point with respect to this position of MRS equals to Px by Py, greater than Px by Py, and lesser than Px by Py. These 2 points of disequilibrium also need to be explained, right? With this, your explanation of consumer equilibrium is done, and I hope you are clear. Your doubts are always welcome. Get back to me if you have any queries. God bless. See ya.